This video is talking about test 1, and I have several things that you may want to write down. So I would go ahead and get out pen, paper, open up an electronic document, sticky notes, highlighters, and have your finger ready to hit stop or pause on the video so that you can capture what you want to capture, make the notes that you want to make. And I'm going to check the volume before I keep going. The volume appears to be up very well, so here are some ideas for test 1. There are going to be around 25 questions. I would start making notes that you need to know the vocabulary. Anything that was bolded in our book as we've gone through the lessons, and anything that I made special emphasis on in my videos for you, I would definitely know the vocabulary. Again, I mentioned in the videos that you might want to make index cards. Those were always very beneficial for me because I could see progress of what I was learning and then have something that I could go back over no matter where I was. And also, when I got to the final, I could always pull my cards from previous tests and I would have a study stack for the final. However you're studying vocabulary, you need to know them very well. You need to know the review page. There is a review page for Chapter 10 that has been uploaded for you in our resources in Connect Math. Make sure you know all the pieces and parts, what this is asking, what you were given, and then how it extends the question down at the bottom, talking about the line, and then some information about predicting. That page has a blank side. It also has some answers, and I would go through it, make sure I understand it, and make sure it's all making sense to me, and then I would go back and test myself to see if I could fill out all of these pieces on the entire page by myself from start to finish without using any notes. If I can do that, then I'm ready for Chapter 10 on our test. I'm going to go through several words of things that you need to know for the test. And I also want to show you how to use an index. If you have the book, the index is a valuable tool. I keep mine, you see it's worn out. I keep mine with a sticky note on it so that I can flip back there, find something, and then go back quickly. I just don't have time to waste, and I don't think you do either. On the ebook, I bet there's a search feature where you can type in a word or words, and it may take you straight to the page, which would be even faster. So make sure you know how to do a grouped frequency distribution table. And so when you're looking for words in an index, you just start you get to be your own search engine. And so you start looking for information like a frequency distribution. Oh, look, there's a grouped one, and it gives you the initial pages where that is located. So make sure you know how to construct a grouped frequency distribution table. Also, with grouped frequency distribution, make sure you know how to calculate the mean and define the modal class. Make sure you know how to read and interpret a histogram. And so looking down here, here is, if I can get it further down there, here is histogram. And so 5758 may be all you need to know, but definitely give you a place to start and to look around and decide if that's what you need or if you need more. You need to be able to calculate a GPA, a grade point average. I know that we've done an example of that. I would go back and look for that, find that, and make sure you know how to calculate a GPA. If you don't remember which part that was with, I'm going to go ahead and flip through here, and I'm going to go ahead and see here that there's a weighted estimate, weighted mean. Let's look at this weighted mean. So I'll run over here to page 127, and let's see if that's what we need. So when I get over here to 127, down at the bottom of the page for weighted mean is where it has an example for grade point average. Again, you might want to start and stop this video multiple times, take some notes, find some information, even stop and mark the information in your book or bookmark it in your ebook. You need to know the formula for calculating range. I'll have several formulas on the test that you'll need for the test. You're not allowed to use your formula card on this test, and I will tell you the formulas you need to have memorized. Range is a formula you need to have memorized. You need to know how to use the standard deviation shortcut. I will provide that formula for you on the test, but you need to know how to find the information, plug the information into the formula, and then calculate it and round it as we've been rounding in our homework and in our lessons. You need to know the Chebyshev's percentages. You need to have those memorized along with the standard deviations. I know in one of our Zooms that was one of the questions I had, trying to highlight that for you all. You need to have the z-score formula memorized. So let's go ahead and find that one. When I look in our index, here's a z-score. One of the pages is 156. Let's go to that because that's within what we've been looking at in these chapters that will be on this test. So when I go to page 156, there it is. It really doesn't matter which one of them you memorize. They both have the same information. One uses the symbols for a sample, one uses the symbols for a population. You need to read this, write this out in your words, like what is the X? And I know that I've recorded that, and I know that there's a lot of information in here, so you have a lot of resources that you can pull from for looking at and knowing how to calculate a z-score. Again, range is a formula you need to have memorized coming into the test, and z-score is a formula you need to have memorized coming into the test. I'll go ahead and stop here and say a great test-taking skill is called a data dump. Once you start the timer for your test, that's the perfect time to grab a blank piece of paper and then do what's called a data dump. And you take all of the formulas in your brain, all of the notes that you want to remember for yourself, you take them out of your brain and you dump them on the paper. You're not using an external resource or anything to write these down. These are ones that you've practiced and that you know and that they're memorized and in your brain. That is not cheating. You've taken a blank piece of paper and you've dumped the information out of your brain. And what that allows you to do is to not worry about forgetting it because you've already dumped it out of your brain. You also need to know how to create a frequency table. You need to know how to draw a stem and leaf plot. You need to know how to calculate the degrees needed for a pie chart. I'm not going to ask you to draw a pie chart, but I am going to ask you to calculate the degrees needed for a certain piece or pieces. You need to know how to find a C-var. I'll have that formula on the test for you, but a C-var we knew as something else, and it's right here. A coefficient of variation. We just got lazy and called it a C-var. So make sure you know how to use the formula that I will provide, how to plug in the correct information, and then how to interpret the information that you get. You also need to know about a box plot, which is the 5-number summary. You need to know how to create one and how to interpret one. And this was also one of the things that we talked about on one of our Zooms about the percentages. Y'all did a great job at it. You pieced it together. It was really beautiful. And so you need to know the percentages. You need to know how to interpret it and then how to manipulate it based on some questions I'll be giving you. And finally, you need to know how to create, construct, draw a frequency polygon. We went through a whole lot of different drawings and types, and they had special features, and that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, like on a data dump, where you write down to yourself, frequency polygon, remember to, and then that's the place to write down those things that are subtle, that people will forget if they don't memorize them and practice them. I wanted to make this video, and I'm going to be attaching it to the email that I'm going to send to you that gives you the testing process. I'll probably send that to you tomorrow or the next day. However, I may go ahead and send this video to you because I know that you are able to have some study sessions with our tutor. And if this is a semester when we don't have a built-in tutor, remember we have a tutoring center, and you have already paid for them and their services, so I would utilize them fully. Do your very, very, very best on this test, practice integrity, and do your own personal best.